Well, it was sure good to be with the guys this morning and get this week going. And obviously, we're excited to be back home, but opportunity to play against a really good Iowa team, and that's always a big game. It's a tough game. It's physical. It's comes down to you gotta put everything into it to give yourself a chance. And the kids are excited and looking forward to this opportunity.
Paul, I know you love to answer questions about the famous list, so I see Cephas and Orr out. Do you know any even speculative timetable on how long you think they might be gone?
No, not sure on that. And I know Q's going to meet with Doctor today or tomorrow and see a little bit more. And it seems like ever since we've done this list, we answer more questions about the list than the list. So, but really, Chryst, I think he's going to be out this game, but I don't know. And then the other guys are truly, I think their next level is questionable, and I think they are that.
On a different topic, how quickly does Iowa get your attention when you see they hang 55 on Ohio State?
Well, I think that you're going to watch them yesterday in earnest and start that, but I think everyone here knows they're going to grab our attention. It didn't all of a sudden become, whoa, I didn't know that was in them. When you saw that that score, and guys were talking about that in the locker room before they even knew about the score, and then got on the plane and you see what's happening. I think this group knows, when you get to this week, it's a big week, and I think that just gives you that much more. But I don't think we knew it's a really good football team.
Jason, I think you forgot how many injury questions we had before the list. But when a team's undefeated like you guys are at this point in the season, does the pressure build at all as you get late in the season?
No, I think that you always want it to. I think the thing that's underestimated is the pressure that kids put on themselves to be good each week and to do their best and to maximize those opportunities. And certainly there's more and more talk surrounding it, but for the players, it's the same. And I think that's how, if you approach it every week that way, then you don't have those. You hope to minimize the ups and downs of, just because there's more talk or less talk about something. They're all important, and these opportunities are limited, and you want them to maximize them. So I don't think that.
Jeff?
I think before you took this job, Nate Stanley had committed to Iowa, and I'm just curious, when you look at him on tape, what do you see about him? What do you like about him as a quarterback, what he does with that offense?
Well, I think that, he's I think he's done a nice job of continuing to grow and develop. I remember watching him when he played, some last year. And he's certainly talented, and I think in a really good offense, I think they do a good job of using all their personnel, and I think that he's playing. Looks to me like he's playing with confidence, and he's tough. I think he's a really good quarterback.
You talked before about how even-keeled Alex is, regardless of if he does well or if he makes mistakes. Do you get any sense of frustration with him that, there's that interception each Big Ten game or something like that? Or how have you seen him respond each week from that?
No, I think that he's been, been a guy that, he gets, when that happens, he's frustrated. He doesn't want to do that. But I think that he's done a nice job of bouncing back, being, mentally tough as much as physically. I thought he showed really good toughness last game, and in both those areas. And so, I think that's, just because he does do a good job moving on, it's not to say that it doesn't bother him.
Well, how much progress has Ryan Connolly made as a player these last couple of years? Seems like he's always having to step up with injuries you've had at that position.
Well, I think Ryan's definitely improved a ton, from was it 2 spring games ago? I thought this is kind of when the light went on, and then, you know, I think as he goes and makes plays, I think his confidence, you know, certainly increases, and his expectations of what he can do and how he can help this team. So I think he's definitely been a guy that, you know, it wasn't satisfied just to be playing, you know, and keeps working. I think he sees himself as a guy that can and should contribute to this team in many ways, you know. So I've seen a steady growth in him.
Well, I think we all saw when Fumagalli was out briefly that he brought something that was very hard to replace. Do you think Quintez is in a similar position among the wide receivers?
Yeah, I really do think that, you know, Quintez was, you know, he played last year, but this felt like he was his kind of first year of really having a significant role. And Quintez, you know, he brought a ton of energy to the group, and it didn't matter whether it was a run or a pass. And so, you know, we're going to miss Quintez for whatever amount of time it will be. You know, we'll miss that, and I think that's an area where some guys got to, you know, you talk about stepping in and stepping up. Certainly there's the plays and the position, but I think the same thing as far as guys that bring energy, you know, and Q will still do it the best he can, but obviously it's going to be different, you know, for whatever amount of time that is. But yeah, I thought he brought a ton to this offense, and really the team. Guys like him and appreciate the competitiveness in him.
Paul, you generally have been playing 3, sometimes even 4 inside linebackers. Does Farrar now, is he the next guy in line with Chryst out at least this week?
Yeah.
Well, Joe Ferguson started a game way back in 2014 and has kind of largely been a reserve. When did you see in him that he could do what he's been doing this season, and especially these last few games?
You know, I thought that, you know, it's been, I mean, he had a good spring, he had a good fall camp, and, you know, if you go back and, I bet you if you go back and look at those films and you see, you know, Ferg's always put himself in position to make plays, and it's been fun to see, you know, what he's been able to do and how he's been able to contribute. And you know, he had a big play on one of the kickoff covers. You know, I think he's a guy that, you know, is a senior playing his best football and having fun playing, and it can be contagious. And it's, you know, we're going to need more out of him. But it's been fun. But I don't know when exactly. There wasn't necessarily an aha moment. But, you know, I think there was, you know, Jimmy had confidence in him, you know, for a long time, you know, and he's been working. So when guys get their opportunity, and they have been working, I think things like this have a tendency to happen, you know, because it's not all of a sudden, oh, I've got my opportunity, now I got to start working.
Well, how much more comfortable do you think Michael feels at left tackle now than maybe he did during fall camp when he was first kind of trying that position out? I
would think and would hope a lot more comfortable. You know, that's, you know, now we're, you know, well into the season, and you're always learning, and you're always, you know, things happen, and you know, you can simulate as much as you want in practice. You know, game speed's different. So I think, you know, was this our 10th game? You know, I think I would certainly think that he's more comfortable.
I know you strive for consistency. Is the consistency of the Iowa program something you look at and appreciate?
Absolutely. You know, I remember when I was first in San Diego and was going to work out a couple of tight ends there when Kirk first went there, and I remember, you know, the program when I was playing was really good, and then it kind of dipped down, and I think what they've done, it's exactly that, consistency, and you appreciate that, and you know, and yet there's been change with it. You know, I think that they've certainly keep evolving, but there's some of those staples that you know you can expect to see, and you do see it when you watch the tape and when you play them. You know, it's certainly been a top level program for a long time, and that's not hard. That's not easy to do. and it's impressive.